Everyone, I'd like to call to order the New York City Transit Committee meeting, and we'll get started with safety announcements.
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We're next going to move to our public speakers.
Good morning. We have 15 members of the public registered to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA's rules of conduct and decorum. I'd also like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. Please be aware there will be a warning beep to remind you when you have 30 seconds left to conclude your remarks. Today, the first speaker will be Marie Bowden, followed by Tasha Larabors.
Good morning. Tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'll be going on a road trip with the team from the Westchester County Department looking at road lines and how to make the markings on a road more obvious to distracted and aggressive drivers. What would that, Rich, I would like to have you set up a meeting with me and a team from your department to discuss updating the markings on the road. I would expect that those markings that we're using now were designed 50 years ago, and they are not appropriate for today's world. I would expect that a reconfigured road plan would save maybe 5% of the time that your buses go. And every accident, because the information would be clearer and given to the driver earlier so that the decision point could be moved back and not at the last moment. Every time there's an accident prevented or doesn't have to happen, it increases the speed of your buses. You want people to use the transit. You want it to be safer. It's time you updated lines that were designed 50 years ago. You don't use a Princess phone today. You use a smartphone, right? Okay, that's my point. Please set up a meeting. I'll present some information. The decisions are your team's, not mine. I'm done. Thank you all for letting me speak today.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Tasha Larabors, followed by Joseph Morales.
Good morning. My name is Tasha Larabors. I work for a Center for Independence of the Disabled, New York, and I'm an accessorized user. Would like to talk again about the importance of assessment centers. I have, heard a lot of issues from consumers about their issues during assessment centers, especially those with the invisible disabilities. And it's not, once again, they do not have a problem. The problem is not going up and down the stairs or holding the pole. person with an invisible disability. It could be a mental disability. It could be a neurological disability. There's a long list. Just would like for you guys to take that into consideration, because oftentimes those with the invisible disabilities tend to get denied easily. So please, once again, take a look at the assessment centers and also how the staff are treating the consumers. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Joseph Morales, followed by Maddie Bucky's Highland.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Morales. A few things I want to talk about today. Number one, I'm really happy that the MTA is reemphasizing the role of group station managers and trying to make them more visible in the stations. However, I feel like it should be a little more often than twice a month, and perhaps at more of the stations if possible, just so that more passengers can interact with them. And since many currently feel unsafe in the system, we want passengers to be able to see their group station manager and know that there's truly is somebody looking out for their subway station, which is the case. For paratransit, I noticed that broker service generally had substantially lower on-time performance rates and higher no-show rates than the primary service. And since Access-a-Ride is the only way to get around for many, it's important that we realize why the broker service is less reliable and be able to hold brokers accountable and determine plans to improve service to help these riders get where they need to go. Also, I read on the Queens Bus Network redesign, and the report for a public hearing says that the MTA's proposal improves interborough connections to the Brooklyn, Manhattan, and the Bronx. And while this is the case, especially I feel like we added a few Brooklyn and Manhattan stuff, I feel like there wasn't so many Bronx stuff added. I really like the proposal for the Q50 extension to LaGuardia. I feel like that will be very valuable, but at the same time, there's no connection between the South Bronx and Western Queens, despite there being a high population density on both sides of the bridge. And in addition, the Q40, there was a lot of people requested for the Q44 to be extended to Bronx Science. I understand why we may not want to pursue that, but because of the length of that route already. But I do really recommend that we try and find another way, whether it's an express bus route or maybe, like I mentioned at the last committee meeting, meetings I attended, a Q44 that ran between the school and maybe like Flushing Main Street or Jewel Avenue. That way we really serve that population, because that's a really popular destination between Bronx, Queens travelers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Maddie Bucky's Highland, followed by Yuki Endo.
Good morning, folks. This Maddie W. Bucky's Highland. For today, I want to talk about reduced fares. First of all, it's Autism Awareness Month, as you could see on my shirt. And second of all, we have to be aware of reduced fares. If you were listening to the last committee on the Long Island Railroad Metro North, I spoke about how there's a $1 fare for children ages 5 to 11. But when they turn 12, and if you don't have, they have to pay the full fare. So, for example, we would consider your conscious to have reduced fare for people with autism, even children under the age of 18. Children under 5 can ride for free, I think. I could be wrong. Having this is critical since we face a very high unemployment rate and must rely on public transit to get to point A to point B. And even for taking us to New Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island, or Westchester. But the last topic I want to talk about is safety. While I do applaud we're making some progress, we need to have stricter penalties in place. We come to ride the subways and buses, not to see the audience of Jerry Springer show. Now, I'm not here to see the Jerry Springer show and have these fights. I came to ride the subway. Anyway, that's all I'll have to say for this month. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Yuki Endo, followed by Jean Ryan.
My name is Yuki Endo, passenger United in Kobe, Japan. But I'm speaking behalf of the New York City bus passenger regarding the bus redesign. And in addition to express buses, access line for the new buses are to 11 months. And I was excited to say that safety platform barriers from the YouTube. RPC Kawasaki heavy industry in behalf of the NTA for building the new R211 cars. As part of the congression passing, I suggest all express buses should run oblique or both direction, work with the B line buses to decrease BX and 4C to $7 to notch the NTA express bus fare. For the bus redesign, B57 bus need to be extended to northern Q29, Q66 need to leave alone, Q44 also extended to Fordham and Bronx science. I do not support Q33, Q47 northern Tennessee, Q23 shared lending. So for this year, and Q8 bus just to save gateway center to fund Nira Avenue Street Station support B71 bus comeback. Also, the New York City sightseeing buses in Manhattan, including the expensive line New York City on location tour, should be considered part of the commuter buses exit from the congestion pricing. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Jean Ryan, followed by Jesse Figuera.
Hi, I'm Jean Ryan. I'm president of Disabled in Action, DIA for short. I'm coming up here to say something that we've complained about a lot, and that's the lack of safe securement with the broker cars, especially with CTG, and also with Uber and Lyft that we get through the on-demand e-hail program. Taking an Uber or a Lyft or a CTG trip, if you're in a wheelchair, is like a crapshoot. You never know if you're going to get the lucky number or not. And be secured, have your chair be secured in a 4-point tie-down, and get the shoulder and waist strap. It's highly unlikely that you're going to get it no matter what you ask for, no matter how much you insist. The drivers just say, don't worry, and they just run to the front and get back behind the wheel and leave you there. The other day I had a guy he secured me in the front but not the back. And I said, well, what about the back? And he said, the door. Like the door is going to keep me safe, and I want to hit the back of the door of the cargo section if we're in an accident? No, and then it's just super frustrating, and it's dangerous. And the MTA has to get involved in this because we can't do it ourselves, and we keep complaining it's not safe. Please get involved and do something. Don't just throw it on the TLC because obviously they're not doing anything about it. And their classes are ineffective in teaching drivers because the drivers don't do it that much, and also because the drivers tell each other, oh, you don't really need to do it. So please get involved. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jesse Figueroa, followed by David Kupferberg.
Hello, everybody. Jesse Figueroa here, U.S. Army veteran, member of the Long Island Railroad Accessibility Task Force. Happy Passover and Mazel Tov. Reason I'm here, one thing, happy birthday, Richard. Second, accessibility is our highest priority. Number 3, I appreciate the efforts of the NYPD to continue to do what they do on a daily basis. And last but not least, My home station, 86th Street, 4th Avenue in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. I am asking for improvements on safety. And during the nighttime hours, there's some homeless couples camping out on the platform, facing the north, like in the front end, but facing north. I'm just asking that it's a concern for our customers and other things. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker today is David Kupferberg, followed by Monique Johnson.
My name is David Kupferberg, Vice President of Bus Advocacy, Passengers United. As said at a previous meeting, I believe that to determine the success or failure of any bus network redesign is local riders and how they are treated. Building upon what I had said about the Rockaways, where the Q22 stops were spaced further apart, the Q66 was also affected by such policies via Northern Boulevard and 35th Avenue. The surrounding neighborhoods hate it. Some are calling for bus stops to be restored. It's obvious that service is less convenient for local riders. Therefore, I think that the distance between local stops should be no less than 500 feet, but no more than 750 feet. Limited stop service should only be considered where feasible for corridors with a trunk frequency of every 5 minutes or less. Limited stop service would operate every 10 minutes and local service every 10 minutes. For example, the existing B38, B41, M2, M5, Q10, and Q17. Standalone limited stop service should only be considered if it would complement local service. For example, the existing M98, S89, and S92. Members of Passengers United have proposed the Q80, which would operate between the Rockaways and the Long Island Jewish Medical Center, and the Q91 via the Throgs Neck Bridge, as well as the local route, the Q90, that would operate via the Queens Midtown Tunnel. We know that the MTA was severely affected by the COVID pandemic, especially within NYCT's operations planning department. Most of the experienced service planners have either retired or went to other agencies. I think the new service planners must respect advocates in their own neighborhoods who are out and know community needs. New planners must have the passion, foresight, and take in the criticism to use it for the greater good. In conclusion, seniors being able to have better access to the bus network redesign books and more engagements with bus advocates are needed to turn out more people to the bus network redesign meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Monique Johnson, followed by Carl Para.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here to talk about the bus service downtown Brooklyn. They're not pulling up to the curves. Not over there on J Street, not over there by Atlantic. The only way they pulling up to the curb because of that tag team that y'all have out there that be at 9 Bond Street, over there by Bond Street area, and over there by the Livingston area. If them tag team people are not out there, the ones that take the people off the bus, then the bus don't pull up to the curb. As long as they out there, they pull up to the curb. But when they're not out there, they pull so far from the curb, it's hard for a person even with a wheelchair, blind, or even a straight person to have to get up and down off the curb. Accessoride. I want to talk to you about Accessoride. I took Accessoride a couple of weeks ago. The man took me to the wrong location. I tried to direct him and tell him to take me to the right location. He refused to. His dispatcher, CTG dispatcher, got on the phone with Accessoride, and they arguing back and forth. This man refused to let me out, wanted to call the police on me if I didn't get out his car in the area that I was unfamiliar with. And I didn't get out. I left the door open and told him he could call the police. He gave me back my money, then I got out because I had to take transportation because I had a next place I had to be at. But if we're going to have these car service here riding us, you're putting our lives in jeopardy. If they taking us places that okay, I say 505. If I don't say 43rd or 38th Street, it's still 8th Avenue. For them to take you to another place and then threaten to call police on you if you don't get out their car, knowing that they didn't take you to your destination, to where you needed to be dropped off, it's priceless to me. I don't understand how y'all okay with that.
Thank you. Our next speaker today is Carl Para, followed by Charlton D'Souza.
Good morning, everyone. This is Carl Pereira. I'm treasurer of Passengers United, and I'm here today to speak about the Queens Bus Redesign Plan. It's great that they're moving forward with a public hearing soon, and we're looking forward to that. Some issues they talk about in the new plan. They're going to be more interborough connections and rush routes and a lot of things like that. A lot of improvements. But with these improvements, some improvement that hasn't been made yet is to change the transfer policy between buses and subways. Right now, most passengers are only allowed one transfer. With the new interborough connections, people are going to definitely, absolutely need more than one transfer to get to some locations. Right now, even in Queens, sometimes people need 3 or 4 buses to get from one area of Queens to the other area of Queens. Nice Bus out in Nassau County already has a 2 transfer policy. They let their passengers ride for up to 3 buses for 1 fare. This is what we need in New York City. We need more than that. We have 5 boroughs here, not 1 county. We have 5 counties. So I think that a better transfer policy, like unlimited transfers for up to 2 hours and 30 minutes on all buses, subways, the Staten Island Railway, and the Roosevelt Island Tram needs to be implemented, and it needs to be implemented as soon as possible. We don't have to wait till the bus redesign is finished to do this, because it's very unfair to a lot of riders. A lot of seniors can't take subways, climb steps. They need to take 3 or 4 buses to get to their doctor's appointments. They can't wait for fare capping 7 days in a row. They only take buses and subways maybe 1 or 2 days a week. So we really need this unlimited 2-hour and 30-minute time-based transfer policy. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Thank you. The next speaker is Charlton D'Souza, followed by Andy Pollock.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. And so you guys made this big announcement over the weekend that you're adding more buses for congestion pricing. Really? So I looked at the item on the agenda, and I looked at the details of the fine plans. And it's only 1 bus or 2 buses per route. So like the 723, the X64, the M35. So that is not good enough. Congestion pricing is going to move thousands and thousands of people in the subway system, because people are going to be ditching their cars to get on the subway because they have no other alternative, because you guys have raised the prices on the railroad, and that's too expensive for people. And so this is not going to work out for us. They should have approved the 160 million or the 180 million in Albany. And what we really need are more bus drivers, because if you don't have enough bus drivers to fill the runs and to fill the trips, you're not doing anyone a favor. You could pretend to say you're going to put all the service out, but if you don't have drivers to physically work those runs, and now you guys are cutting overtime, which has already happened. Many bus trips are not getting filled. So I want a clarification from this board today. Is the overtime cuts going to be affecting the substitute list for bus drivers? And will all bus trips be filled, on the overnights, on the night hops, and the weekend runs? Because we're seeing a lot of express bus trips eliminated, and that's not good for anyone. So if you want people to use mass transit, you really have to change all the schedules and have more service and more bus drivers. Again, thank you so much. My name is Charlton D'Souza, president of Passengers United. Bye.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Andy Pollock, followed by Jason Anthony.
Thank you, Kate. Good morning, Richard. Good morning, Hada, and good morning, members of the New York City Transit Committee. Andy Pollock, member of Passengers United. So I'm here today to discuss the Queens Bus redesign. And there's a couple of issues that I personally have with this bus redesign. The first issue, and Passengers United's been getting a lot of complaints about this recently. The first issue is in Long Island City. You're proposing to eliminate the direct bus route from Roosevelt Island that goes directly to the Queens Plaza, EM, and R train station. That is completely unacceptable. A lot of the people on Roosevelt Island have been reaching out to us personally, and they feel that this is not necessary as part of the Queens Bus redesign. And in Whitestone, you're proposing to eliminate the Q34. You know, the Q34 should not be cut under any circumstances. And on the Q31 eastbound, why are you guys proposing to eliminate the bus stop at 32nd Avenue and 202nd Street where Korean Community Church service is? You know, that's completely unacceptable. So those are my three issues with the Queens Bus redesign that I have. Before I wrap up my comments, I'm here on 8th Avenue in Midtown, and you guys are proposing to enact congestion pricing on June 30th. Well, all I'm going to say is I don't know if there'll be a summer of hell with congestion pricing coming, but I'll believe it when I see it, when there's no traffic always approaching the busy 8th Avenue and 40th Street crossing here on the west side. I like to see how you guys are thinking that it's going to eliminate most of the traffic in the middle of the day, because it's Monday. What's with all the traffic today? Is congestion pricing going to help eliminate that? So with that being all said, I'm going to conclude my remarks. Thank you for letting me speak today, Kate, and I plan to speak again in May.
Thank you. The next speaker is Jason Anthony, who will be followed by Alita Dupree.
Good morning, everybody. Happy belated birthday, Richard. I hope that you enjoyed it. And that regarding congestion pricing, that is an early birthday gift for me, because congestion pricing will start on June 30th, and my birthday is Juneteenth. And speaking a little bit of everything, where's John Samuelson? He is a member of this committee. He has been missing in action for so long. Where is he? I haven't seen him in a long time. But anyways, as a longtime Yankees fan, I would love to see an announcement on the 4 train, because last year the Mets had a treat of announcements on board the 7. Why not the Yankees fans like myself don't get a treat along the 4 train? Because recently the Yankee announcer John Sterling recently retired. It is not fair that the Mets fans get a treat on the 7, but not the Yankees fans like myself don't get on the 4. One last thing, we would love to see more NYPD presence on board the trains, especially in the hours between midnight and 5 a.m., because I use the train during weekends, during those hours when I commute between downtown Brooklyn and the West Shore of Staten Island. Demetrius, your team are doing the excellent job. I want to give kudos to a station agent at 42nd Street Port Authority Bus Terminal that she works during the hours of 2 p.m. and 10. So
please conclude your remarks.
Let's keep doing the job. I'll see you guys in diversity.
Thank you. The next speaker is Alita Dupree, and our final speaker today will be Christopher Grafe.
Thank you. Good morning to the chair, Alita Dupree for the record. She and her with Team Folds. I made it. Faster, cleaner, safer. Well, it's true. I've been getting some fast subway rides, especially on the A line in Brooklyn. And the system is generally clean. It's not perfect, but we want to keep working on it. And I generally do feel safe on the system, though. As with anywhere in a big city, I do have to keep my wits about me. I'm a Desert Storm veteran, so I know what it's like to be vigilant. And I did read through these reports. We're doing some good things and want to get our fare revenue up. We're close to budget, but a little behind, but not by much. And haven't run across any inoperative elevators all over the system. I haven't used any, but shows that we're working on our elevators. I was riding buses, too. I mean, I love riding the subway, but I rode buses with B and Q prefixes. And I did it because I wanted to go to some Zoom meetings while riding the bus. And buses do take a long time in the boroughs, but I got to thinking, the subway is really fast. So this is all the more reason to get these accessible stations built so we can have full participation, so more people can use the subway and get to places quicker, and that takes pressure off of the buses, especially because we need to have wheelchair positions, which is all the more reason to get congestion pricing turned on at the end of June. But to me, the subway is not just about getting somewhere, not just the means to the end, but to enjoy the journey, to be reminded of the words of Jerry Rafferty, and to enjoy the system that is legendary and stately. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker will be Christopher Grave, and the last speaker will be Michael Ring.
Good morning. First, I want to congratulate the awardees, but also I want to congratulate a lot of things. For the last 5 years, MTA has been working on a lot of new things. Signages, accessibility, buses, not just trains being updated R211s, but there is something else. We ask questions, we ask about things, but the one question that needs to be always been asked is, how can we help about congestion pricing of agencies, different agencies outside of MTA? How can we work together and get the right questions out to our communities, not just the veterans, not just the seniors, and the disabilities? We need to do a lot of working together, starting now and before June 30th. And thank God June 30th, which is one more day tomorrow, which is April 30th, which, yes, it is my birthday. I know, Richard, happy belated birthday for you as Taurus the Bulls. We are going to be running people over saying congestion price is important. But very important is, how can we work together? And regarding Queens redesign, not only MTA, we need to also remember DOT is part of this too. If you know a bus stop is being removed, please contact DOT as well, accessibility, because we need to hear that. That is one thing we need to remind. Answering, outreaching, communities that need to hear the right facts, but always complaining, but don't solve the complaints. How can we work together? And I'm going to say this, as an advocate for 30 years, I've been telling people since day one, if you have a concern, please put it into the MTA app or the DOT app or 311. The more advocacy we put in, the more things would get done. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final speaker today is Michael Ring.
Good morning. My name is Michael Ring. Right now I'm wearing a green hat that says Disabled in Action. That is the organization I'm representing now. A few months ago, I mentioned that a very free way to improve accessoride service and reduce a lot of traffic jams would be to not have MTA vehicles parking in the bus stop right outside this building, an MTA bus stop that's used for people who come here, go to the museum across the street, go to the school at 25 Broadway across the park there. So I noticed that during these meetings, you have a staffer out there keeping anyone from parking in that bus stop. But I have to tell you, there's a mini-me out there. My son walks up the stairs of that subway station 5 days a week to go to work on Governor's Island, taking pictures of who's parked in that bus stop. And when you don't have meetings, you're letting your own vehicles that aren't having anything to do with the accessoride vehicles park in that bus stop. And right now, there's 2 accessoride vehicles parked there that aren't dropping anyone off. They're electric vehicles that I'm sure you're going to talk about in the next part of this meeting. So I'd like to talk about the electric vehicles for accessoride. I'm really glad you're moving in a way of sustainability, but if you want to be sustainable, you really have to work on the computer engine that arranges for when accessoride vehicles pick me up. It's a massively inefficient system. It's taking people on these 2 and 3 borough tours of the city when they don't need to be driven around so much. Empty vehicles are driving very far to pick people up when there's much better systems for the nearest vehicle to pick up the next passenger. It doesn't have to be a manifest that's written out the night before where people just sit in a van all day. So we can do better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chair, this concludes the public comment session.
Thank you to all of our speakers. We appreciate your advocacy and your time. Now want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 2024 meeting. Second. And with that, it is the meeting minutes. Second. Oh, do you have a comment? Sorry
Yes,
about that.
no problem. On page 49, under President's Report, it should say President Davies' remarks about Transit Employee Appreciation Day, not Appreciate Day.
Ah, okay. We get the conjugations right. Second, with that amendment? Approved. Next, we'll move on to the work plan. Are there any changes to the work plan?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the final review of the 2023 operating results will take place in May instead of this month. Also, we included 2 staff summaries in the committee book for the chair and the board's approval, a request for public hearing for the Queens Bus redesign as required by board policy, and express bus additions for the summer of 2024. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Rich, and we'll move on to the president's report.
Great, thank you, Chair, and thank you for chairing today, Mayor. We appreciate you stepping in for Haida. So, in April, we had some interesting things, not necessarily that were discussed at the podium. My birthday, not so much, but seismic and celestial challenges here at New York City Transit. You see a picture here of a customer looking at with appropriate glasses, we hope. For the solar eclipse, we had a strong earthquake, but notwithstanding those two, items that occurred here in New York, we had a very strong month, which I'll be talking about now over the next few minutes. One thing I do want to talk about is the promotion of equity through fair fares, something that, as you know, the Blue Ribbon Commission and their 4 E's spoke about. One was equity, and we continue to drive as best we can, letting our customers know that the Fair Fares program that the City of New York offers is something that is available to over 1 million New Yorkers. We continue to work and partner with the city very closely. We actually had a day of action on March 29th, as noted here, with the DSS staff to show both awareness and enrollment. But Fair Fares is a lifeline for hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers, and we continue to push that at our customer service centers, but it will continue to be central to all we do, which is ensuring that there are equitable fares that are available to our customers, and they know about that. Not an April Fool's joke, but on April 1st, we welcomed back F-Line customers, a modernized tracks throughout the 63rd Street corridor and the tunnel in particular. Direct track fixation, it is a very complicated project. It's done on time thanks to the C&D team. There were certainly challenges to that, but as I said, my hope is that our customers won't see us there for another 40 years. So probably a new president and some other new folks will be doing direct track fixation then. But again, thanks to our customers for their patience and to the C&D team for getting that project done on time and on budget. We also celebrated 1 year of enhanced customer service within our stations. Demetrius and Sheila in a moment will talk a little more deeply about, on the subway side, what we're doing around customer service. But we celebrated a year of bringing our station agents out of the booth. And it's clear a year later that our customers love the change. 78% of our customers are satisfied or very satisfied with our station staff when interacting with them out of the booth, as opposed to behind the glass and those microphones where, for me at least in the day, it sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher, where you couldn't understand the direction or the answers necessarily that our agents were trying to give because of that poor technology. So we've seen an increase in customer satisfaction as a result. And by the way, our employees like it as well. We had 3 of our excellent station agents with us at this event, and not to be outdone, the TW as well. Robert Kelly, who represents the station's employees, was also there to talk about improvement. And finally, as you can see, we've had nearly a 600% increase in customer commendations of our station agents as well. So we want to applaud these 2,300 men and women who are out in our system, helping our customers every single day. As mentioned as well from the podium, we're making transit greener. And so we, for the first time, debuted an accessoride vehicle that is all electric. We've purchased 15 of those, and we'll be piloting those over the coming months to ensure that they have enough power and charging capability. to not only make sure that the vehicles can go around the city, but our customers can be comfortable, and obviously the cutaway and the ramps in particular will work. But we're excited about this new amenity and look forward to testing it, as I mentioned, in the months to come. There are 2 vehicles downstairs if the committee or board members or frankly anyone in the public wishes to get a sneak peek. We continue our station renovations, and so we're up to almost 80 now stations across the system where we have, quote, renovated them. And as a reminder, this is somewhere between a deep clean and an actual major capital project, but we're taking advantage of weekend shutdowns, GOs, so to speak, where stations are closed and getting in and doing deep cleans, lighting improvements, and you can see here some before and after pictures, in particular with tile and leak remediation we did at Jamaica Van Wyck, but really improving, again, the environment that our customers are coming into, and we continue to see improved customer satisfaction numbers as a result of that work. Andrew, I'm sorry.
Rich, I've gotten comments from some people that know I'm active in this field about some of these renovations, and in the case, and I'll use the one that I went and visited to make sure they knew what they were talking about, Fort Hamilton Parkway on the F&G. While there were major improvements there, some of the historic tile work on the columns along the platforms were painted over. That's not going to be a regular thing, is it? We're going to preserve the historic identity of some of these stations, I'm hoping.
We are absolutely preserving the historic nature. We're also looking at other ways to clean up the system as well. So for most of our subway tiles, which are just a sort of a classic white, I think we're looking at opportunities to clean those up. That doesn't require a full, bore tile change out, if you will. So, but no, we'll be careful to ensure, as you know, there's lots of historic elements to our stations, a lot of public art in our stations that we want to make sure we're preserving. Sure. And then spring ridership is fully blooming. So we have seen an uptick in paid ridership across subways in particular. We've eclipsed 4 million. No pun intended on eclipse, 4 million paying customers, 5 times in April compared to 3 times last year. So customers continue to vote with their feet by using, the services that we're providing. And last, or a couple more slides here, but this is not our first rodeo. We have a team out of bus employees competing literally right now in Portland, Oregon. The APTA, which is the American Public Transportation Association, has an annual bus rodeo, which we stopped participating in a few years ago. COVID also interrupted that as well. But this year, for the first time, Frank, in maybe 6 years or 7, we had our own internal rodeo back in the fall. Folks might remember that. And we sent the winners out to Portland. So they are competing right now. I'm told they're doing well. You have.
The results are in, but they haven't released them yet. So. Fingers
results
crossed.
are in, but they're not in. All right. Well, Frank, there's still time for you to make sure the results are the ones we want. But in all seriousness, I think driving a bus in this business is the toughest job in transit, and I think driving a bus in New York City is the toughest of the tough. So we were really proud to send some of our best bus operators and our maintainers out to compete again at the national level. And as folks know, customer satisfaction is our North Star, but our employee engagement, making sure our employees feel appreciated as well is part of that. And we're grateful to have sent this team out to APTA to compete. Moving the needle on transit safety, Chief Grandstaff is here. He'll be speaking to this momentarily, but I wanted to reiterate, I'm sure, what he's going to say, which is subway crime is down. Year to date, crime is down 5.4% compared to last year. I think he's going to have an update momentarily, which is even better than that, as is the 28-day rolling average. The Chief Kemper and his team continue to expand their presence in the system, which we are grateful for. It is paying dividends, given our difficult January we had. We're accelerating camera deployment on trains and stations, as folks know. We're closing in to about 30% now, close to, of all of our trains in the system have at least 2 cameras on them. Our scout teams continue to make great progress. This is really helping those folks who are suffering some of the most acute mental health challenges in our system, which our customers continue to tell us is the #1 issue for them in the subway system. The platform barrier expansion, we've done that now at 4 stations, and as we look at budget and some other things, we'll look to accelerate that rollout, but we've had positive comments there. And notwithstanding, we have had some very ugly and high-profile assaults of our employees this first quarter. Assaults are actually down from last year, about 36%, and harassments are down 28%. One of those is too many. You've heard me say that often. We're going to continue to work with NYPD to, catch anyone who does any harm to our people, or certainly harass our folks. But the good news is overall, our employee safety is also improved in the first quarter. A couple of personnel announcements I want to make. First, Chris Pangilinan has done, we think, such a good job, or I think, at Paratransit. I've asked him to become our new Chief of Operations Planning. As you all know, Judy McLean retired last fall, and we've had a vacancy there. So Chris has agreed. He actually started here 10 years ago in that very department, so he is familiar with that. And Rachel Cohen, hiding behind her 2 kids, learning roadway worker protection and track safety, has agreed to become our acting chief of paratransit. So, again, kudos to this team. I want to thank Sarah Weiss, who's been, please, yeah. Sarah Weiss, who's been our acting OP chief. And then finally, too, Carl Hammond, you probably noticed, has snuck up to the desk here with us. With Pat Warren's retirement, Carl is ably acting as our acting chief of safety, though I hope to have a new appointment there in the coming weeks as well. So, as we have folks retire and leave us, we continue to build a very, very strong team at New York City Transit, of whom I am very proud of. I think that is it, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Are there any questions? And congratulations to all of the promotees. Now we'll turn to SVP of Subways, Demetrius Critchlow, and Stations Environment and Operations VP, Sheila Hudson, to present the customer service update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So reflecting back on the past few years working with Rich, this amazing Subways team, we've really made some transformational changes to what we do on many fronts. One of them that I'm very proud of is what the team has done on the customer service side. These efforts are in part due to the work of Jim Compton in the gallery and Sheila Hudson at my left. As a flashback to what was, ridership was low. We had come out of the pandemic as an organization that was devoid of resources, short employees on multiple fronts across divisions, but notably on the customer service side and on our cleaning side. We had contractors cleaning our trains, working with our employees, and we had agents that were confined to a booth. So this presented a unique opportunity for us to revitalize what we do. Now, here in New York, things are always different, right? Revitalizing an organization or reinventing the image of an organization that's a century-old transportation system is one thing. Doing that in New York, where everybody has an opinion, whether they take public transportation or not, is troublesome even exponentially. So it's been tough, like trying to make sure that we do the right thing by our customers, but we think that we have hit a really great stride here. So to set things out, we've transitioned from contractors back to our own forces, taking the best practices that we infusing that into our new teams. That's been a key to our model for success. We've hired approximately 700 cleaners, several hundred agents, but it's not really just about hiring people, filling spots. It's what you give those folks, and that's what Sheila's going to share today. What tools have we given them? What skills have we given them to be able to do the job better, to be able to service our customers better? So those are the core ingredients of our success. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Sheila Hudson, the Vice President and Chief Officer of Station Environment and Operations.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Demetrius. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm here to discuss the Subway's customer service updates. I will start with how we began and move forward to where we are today. Our first pivotal moment was the introduction of the Group Station Managers Program, which began in September 2018. In 2019, our next step moving the needle was the new fare payment system called One Metro New York, otherwise known as Omni, was introduced into the system. In September 2022, we introduced another component of customer service that enhanced our customer cleaning efforts by implementing the 3 pillars of Station Cleaning Transformation Plan. In December 2022, working with our TWU Local 100 partners, a landmark agreement which achieved outlining station agents' new role and responsibilities of performing customer service outside of the booth. In February 2023, we opened the first 6 customer service centers throughout the 5 boroughs. In March 2023, our station agents transitioned into their new role of providing optimal customer service outside of the booth. In November 2023, we introduced our first Omni CVMs at 6 pilot stations within the system. And I'm happy to announce as of last week on April 22nd of 2024, we expanded the capabilities of our customer service centers by processing and issuing permanent reduced fare Metro cards to our senior citizen customers. Our Group Station Managers Program. Our Group Station Managers Program was introduced with the goal to be a one-stop shop for our customers. There are currently 19 GSM zones, where each GSM serves as a single point of contact for complaints, commendations, recommendations, maintaining clean stations, maintenance improvements, partnering with our New York City Transit divisions, such as the MTA agencies and external partners, such as the Bowery Residency Committee, Homeless Outreach, and the neighborhood coordinating officers from NYPD, with the goal of improving overall customer experience. This dedicated team is making great strides and continuously moving the needle in customer satisfaction. On the screen you'll have before you, I would like to recognize 2 of our team members, one being Maria, who manages Zone 8, and the other is Monty, who manages Zone 19. Cleaning Transformation. The Cleaning Transformation Plan, which outlines the 3 pillars, standards, resources, guidance, was established to support our goal of achieving excellence in station cleaning. Our first pillar, standards, introduced a new cleaning standard guide as resources to our supervisory and cleaning staff. We overhauled and completely modernized the station cleaning induction manual, introducing e-learning to our employees, as well as using videos showing how to perform critical cleaning tasks. Our second pillar, resources, we increased our resources headcount with 290 station cleaners with a goal to decrease the average number of stations each cleaner is responsible for performing. We established and deployed 4 district height intensity tactical teams, otherwise known as HIT, to deep clean our stations from top to bottom. We partnered with the station facilities team and supported over 70 renovations by deep cleaning and installing new signage. We procured and deployed over 80 new scrubber machines with a goal of maintaining our tile stations in between mobile wash cycles. And our final and third pillar, guidance. Using customer feedback through customer count surveys and social media, we created defined cleaning schedules. We prioritized the frequency on the lowest rated stations as well as customer volumes. Cleaning lab, our cleaning lab, which develops new solutions. We implemented a cleaning lab where a dedicated team works to test and introduce new equipment and chemicals to gain efficiencies in keeping our stations clean. The team is also developing and reinforcing cleaning processes and implementing new training classes once we introduce new products into the system. As you can see, we have cleaning personnel testing new items that were introduced into the system. Our goal is to clean smarter, not harder. Customer service training. The key success for employee development is training. We have invested more resources in training than ever before. To date, over 2,300 station agents have received customer service training to ensure that they are equipped to provide optimal customer service outside of the booth. Historically, we conducted a 1-day of customer service refresher training class. We have now advanced to a 5-day intensive training program that focuses on technology, such as using the iPhone to communicate with our non-speaking English customers, providing real-time accessibility updates, and using Slack to provide alternate travel directions during service disruptions. Safety and situational awareness by seeing something, saying something. Customer service role play to master de-escalation techniques, accessibility procedures, and the new fair media equipment functions and options that we currently have in the system. Our customer service centers. Today, we currently have 15 customer service centers, 11 are enhanced booths, and 4 retail build-outs, which offer our customers a seated waiting area and an iPad stand that displays real-time train service updates and also assists with reduced fare Metro cards processing and enrollment. Coming soon, we will be converting both the Roosevelt Avenue and the Parkchester Avenue station to retail build-outs. Station agents assigned to customer service centers offer customers the 3 Stone Street experience without traveling too far, and also providing assistance with wayfinding, fare payment functions and options, omni promotion information, accessibility, and reduced fare enrollment. Our permanent reduced fare Metro card. In an effort to improve customer satisfaction, we have expanded our customer service center capabilities by processing and issuing reduced fare Metro cards to our senior citizen customers. This enhancement provides greater access for our seniors to receive permanent reduced fare Metro cards closer to home. It eliminates the paper application process, which is a cost-saving factor for our seniors, as we provide headshots and issuance of permanent reduced fare Metro cards on the spot. The process ultimately gets us closer to our goal of permanent reduced fare Metro card users converting to Omni. Our GSM office hours. This is the final component of customer service, is being visible and engaging. In order to show our customers that their feedback and opinions matter, we are implementing the GSM office hours program in late May. Each GSM will hold office hours twice per month at select stations and within their respective zones. Hours of engagement will be conducted during the AM and PM peak hours from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. GSMs, their respective staff, NYPD partners will also be on hand to hear our customers, provide answers to their questions, and document their suggestions. GSM office hours will be announced via digital screens and via marketing posters days leading to the scheduled engagement. GSMs will take documented feedback and initiate actions on feasible quick wins within their goal by improving customer satisfaction. I would like to also highlight Mr. Vladimir, who handles Zone 10, and he is pictured in one of the marketing materials that will be coming to you soon. And finally, customer satisfaction. Over the course of the last year as a team, we have collectively moved the needle by increasing customer satisfaction by providing optimal customer service. We've reopened 122 public restrooms at 64 stations, expanded our customer service center capabilities, standardized our cleaning practices, implemented a cleaning lab, and added additional resources and equipment to ensure we have cleaner stations for our customers. We will keep moving the needle forward in customer satisfaction by providing also a one-on-one experience with the introduction of the GSM office hours coming soon.
Thank you very much, Demetrius and Sheila. I especially like the cleaning lab. I want to try some of those products at home. And next, we're going to move to the crime report and Chief Grandstaff.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, President Davey, and members of the board. My name is Deputy Chief Norman Grandstaff. I'm one of the executive officers of the NYPD's Transit Bureau. Unfortunately, Chief Kemper couldn't be with us today. He's out of town, but he sends his regards, and he asked me to brief you today. So what a difference a few months make. In January, Chief Kemper was here, and he spoke to you about how challenging the start of the year was for us in the Transit Bureau, with subway system experiencing a highly publicized increase in crime. But he also told you the Bureau's plan in addressing this concerning and unacceptable crime trend. The difference between then and now is achieved through the department's collective hard work, and namely the deployment of over 1,000 additional uniformed officers into transit every day since the beginning of February. This investment immediately paid dividends and continues to do so to this day. In front of you, you have the crime stats for the month of March. And just really to establish a timeline, at the end of January, crime in the subway system was up 45%. A plan was established, and really one of the main points of that plan was the assignment of, at the direction of Mayor Adams and Police Officer Caban, over 1,000 uniformed members into the subway system. And that plan paid off immediate dividends. For the month of February, crime was down 13%, and where we sit today, March down 23, and then actually today, for the month of April, crime is down 24.7%, and the year-to-date number is down 6.4%. So it is actually has gone down since the last week. These numbers show a positive downward trend in crime, but we have not taken our foot off the pedal. Instead, we've capitalized on our momentum. Again, for the month of April, we've seen a 24.7% decrease in crime. Again, year-to-date, we are down 6.4% in crime. But make no mistake, we are not waving the flag of victory. We are encouraged by this trend, and our strategies to combat crime are working. We'll continue our increased officer deployment to transit with these highly visible cops deployed to turnstiles, on subway platforms, and inside moving trains. We'll also continue our enhanced focus on fare evasion enforcement, as it brings so much value in our pursuit of public safety, especially at the turnstiles are the gateway for the riders' journey through the subway. Fare evasion contributes to the sense of lawlessness in the system, and it isn't fair to the paying riders, and as you know, it consistently is a top complaint of our riders. Additionally, fare evasion is directly related to crime. In fact, so far this year in the subway system, we've recovered 24 guns, 14 of which were found on someone evading the fare. We've seen time and time again that while not all people who evade the fare are criminals, nearly all criminals who come into the system to prey on our riders evade the fare. That's why earlier this month we dedicated over 100 officers each day for a week in a joint effort by both Patrol Services Bureau and Transit Bureau to Operation Fair Play, an initiative focusing on the turnstiles and those not paying their fare. For this initiative alone, over 700 summonses were issued and 175 arrests were made, including 2 for gun possession. This is not petty enforcement. This is about correcting behavior and stopping those with bad intentions at the fare gates. And to be clear, our focus on fare evasion is not limited to this initiative. Your transit cops are out there every day facing lawlessness head-on and working hard to make the subway safer. We continue to capitalize on our momentum. All categories of enforcement continue to be up at or near historic highs. Year-to-date, there have been over 6,500 arrests made in the subway system. This is a nearly 57% increase. Tab summonses are up 24% with over 63,000 issued. As I spoke about before, we've continued our emphasis on confronting fare evasion, with over 43,000 fare evasion contacts so far this year. This is over a 7% increase from last year. In addition to the 24 people we've arrested for carrying a gun in the subway system, which is a 60% increase from last year, we've made nearly 600 arrests for other weapons in the system, a 63% increase. So for transit, for the week, last week we had 24 major crimes. We average about 44 crimes per week, so that's 20 less victims. For the month, again, we're down nearly 25%, and the year, we're down over 6%. As you can see, our hard work is paying off, and the subway system is all the safer for it. But there's still work to do, and our job is never done. We'll continue to face lawlessness head-on until every person who depends on the system not only knows that they're statistically safe, but they feel safe as well. Thank you. I'll now answer any questions you may have.
Any questions? Okay, with that, we'll move on to Q for the accessibility update.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon. Earlier this month, we were thrilled to open new elevators at Metropolitan Avenue and Lower Merch stations in Brooklyn in one day, making and surpassing 150 accessible stations here in New York City Transit. This represents a major milestone in the work towards reaching greater than 95% accessibility for the subway system. The work at Metropolitan Avenue and Lower Merch Station Complex included constructing 6 new elevators, updating staircases, lighting, and extensive fare control and platform work. North Brooklyn is a great example of the huge strides we have made in accessibility in just the last few years. Since 2020, we have opened 5 new accessible stations in Greenpoint and Williamsburg, unlocking new potentials, accessibility for these growing communities and neighborhoods and our L and G line riders. MTA Accessibility congratulates our Deputy Chief, Rachel Cohen, and on her acting appointment as Vice President at Paratransit, and Chris on his promotion to Operations Planning. I cannot think of a better candidate to take over at Paratransit than Rachel, with her experience at TOC, with you and Team Mira, and with her almost 6 years here in accessibility. We in accessibility congratulate her and look forward to continuing to be working with both Rachel and Chris in their next roles. Thank you.
Any questions? And I'm no longer angry that you stole Rachel from the TLC. And now we'll turn over to procurement for this month's transit procurements.
Thank you. Good afternoon. The New York City Transit procurement package includes one action item this month. This item is to request board's ratification of an immediate operating need, which resulted in the award of contracts to Hayden AI and Sion USA for automated bus lane enforcement, ABLE. Bus lane enforcement is a critical element of the MTA's efforts to increase bus speeds, improve customer service, and ensure the success of both bus lanes and select bus service. The awards to both Hayden and Sion are for the purchase, installation, operation, and maintenance of ABLE systems up to 1,023 for Hayden and 1,000 for Sion. Both of these vendors were identified through a request for information seeking vendors capable of furnishing ABLE systems. Department of Buses entered into test agreements with Hayden and Sion and worked closely with both in the development of their ABLE systems and completion of the required certification testing. Proposals were submitted by both Hayden and Sion, and both were invited for negotiations. For comparative purposes, price was calculated on the capital equipment acquisition and then the recurring costs for operation and maintenance of the system, resulting in an average price per system per year. Hayden's initial 3-year proposal averaged $34,297 per bus per year. Subsequent to negotiations, that was reduced to $14,430 per bus per year, a reduction of 42%. Sion's initial proposal averaged $22,976 a year, and subsequent to negotiations, the contract for 1,000 units was reduced to $19,469 per year, a reduction of 15%. The total combined award amount for Sion and Hayden is $141.5 million, and prices submitted by both companies were deemed fair and reasonable. The MTA received legislative approval to begin monitoring and ticketing vehicles obstructing bus stops as well as double-parked vehicles in mid-2024. As a result, DOB has updated the scope of work and renamed this project to Automated Camera Enforcement, or ACE. Procurement is actively engaged in negotiations with both vendors to add the enforcement of bus stop and double-parked vehicles to these contracts. As these modifications are being conducted under the ION, they will be presented to a future board for ratification following negotiation and award. I submit this ratification for board approval.
Any questions?
Yes, can you, do you know how large a geographic area the ACE system will be covering?
Frank, could I defer to you on that?
Yes, at the end of 24, it'll be 500 miles of coverage with ACE, and then we're expanding further through 2028, an additional 30 routes to be determined and mileage to be determined. Yeah.
Thank you.
And when will the cameras start being operable on the buses?
So right now we have over 600 buses with the system on. It's just a matter of converting it from ABLE to ACE to be able to enforce actually the bus stops and the double park cars. So at the end of May, early June is when we anticipate we will begin capturing the new ACE and ABLE and begin giving warnings.
By statute, I think it was May 27th-ish?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
There's a specific statutory date, so we'll be a week or two from that.
And you do a warning period first and then the violations?
Yes, it's a 60-day warning period, and then we begin the violations.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. A motion to approve this procurement? Yes. Second? Second? Okay. The procurement is, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, with that, the procurement is approved. The next, and I'm going to turn it over to Rich to do an introduction, will be a vote on whether or not to hold public hearings on the Queens Bus redesign.
Correct. So as mentioned, we want to ask the committee to vote to allow staff to have a public hearing. By board policy, I think you all know we've been having lots of public meetings and lots of public conversations over the last now couple of years as a start from what was happening in 2019. So, but as board policy, so that's the ask.
Do we have a motion to approve? Yes. Second? All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or oppositions? And with that, the motion to hold public hearings on the Queens Bus redesign is approved.
Great. And then lastly, just want as an information item for the committee regarding additional express bus service to commence in June of 2024. This item will add trips to express bus routes with the highest ridership per bus during any single hour of an average weekday. Trips would be added on the BM2, BM5, the SIM 1C, the SIM 4C, the SIM 23, and the SIM 24. You know, as we prepare for the commencement of congestion pricing, the new service will give commuters on higher ridership express bus corridors in Brooklyn and Staten Island additional trips to get to and from Manhattan. And we hope to see a rise in ridership. The additional funding is about $880,000 from the out-of-borough transportation account. And I would just say for us, this is belt and suspenders. You've often heard us say that we have capacity on both the subway system and the bus system, largely because of COVID. But this is an opportunity for us to continue to improve express bus service in these corridors. And, you know, as congestion pricing is implemented and continues in New York for as long as it will continue, we'll continue to monitor ridership to see if there are other adjustments. But that was an information item. We're happy to take questions, Chair, if there are any questions.
Okay. Next, we can go straight to the Transit All-Stars. Excellent.
We can. And so last but certainly not least, we want to acknowledge our Transit All-Stars who are making a difference in improving our service and our customers' satisfaction. So the folks patiently waiting in the back who actually run the service. I don't know, we're probably having a bad day today because you're all here, sadly. But there are a few folks. First, we want to recognize 4 from the Department of Buses from our College Point Depot. College Point transports customers to their destination with 158 local and 169 express buses. So first, we have cleaner John Beauregard. John, please. Thank you. John, hard to believe he has got a 42-year career at New York City Transit. Obviously, child labor laws were violated, sir, when you started, but keeping our buses and facilities clean. He's known to his coworkers as the head sanitational engineer. Thank you, John, for your work. Next, we have chassis maintainer Ken Webb. Ken, please. Thank you. Who is being honored for his success as a mechanic who's transformed his skills and abilities with each new generation of buses. You've seen several generations. We're going to be giving you a few more, by the way. He's also known to his peers at College Point as the preacher for always being willing to guide them in the right direction. Thank you, Ken. Chassis maintainer Robert McDonough. Sir. An experienced mechanic, also has transformed his skills and abilities as bus technology has changed over the decades. How long do you have with us? 50 years. Amazing. Thank you so much for your service. I appreciate it. Rowan Porter. Where's Rowan? Rowan, sir, is a chassis maintainer as well. Has 48, so he's the rookie. Only 48 years experience at New York City Transit. He's often referred to as the all-yard man. by his colleagues for his expertise and his variety of knowledge. But just so thank you as well. Then we have Senna Phillips. She's a transportation planner. Where are you? There you are. Who's directing those buses that John, Ken, Robert, and Rowan maintain for us. But she's being recognized for her success as one of our most highly visible and impactful customer-facing projects, the Brooklyn bus redesign. We often talk about Queens, but we all know Brooklyn is not too far behind. Besides this, she has made significant impact in several important bus initiatives and contributing to improving our bus speeds and our service reliabilities. She loves buses, and we really appreciate all that you do. Thank you, Senna. Dwayne Thorne. Where's Dwayne? Dwayne, thank you. Is a conductor who's being recognized as a transit all-star for his outstanding customer care. He stopped a potential train surfing incident aboard a northbound J train. He joined us in 2017 and has proven himself to be a key contributor to our service delivery team every day. Thank you. Appreciate what you did. Elisa Hamilton. There you are. Group Station Superintendent is being celebrated for her courage and fast action to keep those around her safe during a serious incident that happened on A train at Hoyt-Schermerhorn on March 14th. She immediately alerted NYPD officers at the station and notified our OCC. Her prompt action was instrumental in facilitating a rapid police response, which ultimately led to the apprehension of a perpetrator. Thank you. I appreciate that. Where's Matt Koth? Where's Matt? There he is in the back. Staff analyst. He's being honored today for his success in developing the Winter Weather Event Project, which apparently has prevented us from having any winter weather events the last 2 years, basically. Congratulations. Which will improve tracking the Division of Station's snow response activities using our new EAM application. This work is critical to providing resource management, cost control, but more importantly, to keep our stations safe. Matt, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Next up is Sampson. Sampson, where are you? There you are. Director of Paratransit's Eligibility Determination Unit. He manages the team that processes over 4,000 AAR applications and 33,000 customer calls and almost 300 AAR Metro card requests each month. He's also currently leading the opening of our new Manhattan Assessment Center, the last borough without an assessment center for our paratransit customers, which is scheduled to open in the third quarter of this year. Thank you for your work. Appreciate it. And last but not least, Natalie Garcia. Natalie, thank you. Director of our Paratransit's Project Cost Management Unit. She contributed extensively to helping our Omni pilot for 84 paratransit customers. Chair, you asked about that, but that is underway, which we're excited about. This included leading Paratransit's web and app, My MTA website, and My MTA app development and testing, resulting in an increase of a 15% online accessor ride reservations, an all-time high for paratransit. Natalie, thank you for continuing to improve the customer experience. And Chair, that is all we have.
All right, any questions? More congratulations. Okay, now I'll make a motion to adjourn the, well, does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? Thank you, and a second. All in favor? And with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.